Hey guys, Sam here. Since we had so much to talk about with Wandavision, we decided to split it up into two episodes. So without further ado, here's the conclusion of our episode of Wandavision.
You think you know what we're going to talk about.
But unfortunately, I fell down a damn rabbit hole and I've not gotten out yet.
Knife bros.
I literally Googled Sebastian Stan hands.
But just when you least expect it, we changed the game.
Well, yeah, because like usually in astrology, they would partner up air signs with fire signs.
All right, you can huggle.
Time travel stories and
At the end of the day, only one thing matters. We decide.
Well, we should make it a topic. Unfortunately, I didn't take German in school. I took Spanish and I don't remember any of it.
Three Fates Decide podcast.
Yeah, going back to the episodes.
We're in episode 7. Are we still on
Well, yeah, I guess because we kind of talked about 6 a little bit about like what Pietro had said. I do like in episode 6 that they had Wanda dress up as the Scarlet Witch.
well, yeah, I mean they were all dressed up as their comic book
as like their
comic
actual
book costumes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
It was also pretty funny.
Yeah, and then
It was pretty funny.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch. See, look, we were talking about him. Paul Bettany in that costume was pretty hilarious.
Oh, that was great. That was probably my favorite of all of the costumes. I was just like seeing the like the previews for WandaVision and knowing that episode was coming and knowing he was gonna be dressed up like that. I was like, I can't wait to see this.
I mean, it's like
yeah,
I mean, like for a Halloween episode, it's like at that point, it's like Vision. You could totally walk around looking like your normal Vision self, and everybody would believe you're in a costume.
Yes.
It would be like the one night you could walk around totally in your normal self, and everybody would believe you're wearing a costume. It would have been great. It would have been liberating.
It would have, but it was just like I cracked up at that when I saw him walk down the steps. I was just like, God, because I knew it was coming, and I was just like, I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I just really thought it was hilarious how Pietro actually ended up dressing up like how he like I think it might have been like the first incarnation of the character in the comics where that's like that's how he was designed to look like with the hair and the light blue costumes. So I just thought it was also really adorable how I think it was Tommy's the speedster, how Tommy was like basically mini Uncle Pietro.
Yes,
that was adorable.
That was. And then poor Billy, I don't even know. I'm not sure who he was supposed to be dressed up like.
I had to look it up. That is actually his costume in Young Avengers.
Okay.
Hint, hint. Possible preview of the future.
Well, I mean, if that post-credit scene on episode 9 is any indication, she's gonna bring them boys back.
I mean, it really would open a lot of doors in terms of storytelling if they actually use the whole concept of Young Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
But the other
Well, I think they're doing Young Avengers. I'm sure they're going to bring Young Avengers in probably phase 5. I would say
it's possible. I mean, obviously, yeah.
Because I mean, they're kind of setting it up with Black Widow, because I think Natasha's going to hand off the Black Widow title because obviously she dies to Yelena.
Right.
And then Hawkeye is passing the torch on to
Kate Bishop.
Yeah, Kate Bishop. I couldn't think of her name. I was like, I can think of the actress's name, but I couldn't think of the character. Something. So I mean, he's gonna pass on the title to her, So I mean, it could really set up for Phase 5 for a Young Avengers like movie or TV show or something come out.
Yeah, I had to look up Young Avengers because, like, I'm not a comic book reader. Like, try to follow some of this stuff, like, through, like, other podcasts and things, but I mostly look it up on, like, sites like Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So, the thing with Young Avengers is that depending on which characters they actually start introducing in the later, movies and TV series,
Mhm.
it has a lot of potential because, aside from how the twins show up as members of the Young Avengers, some of the other characters are actually kinda interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting if they really do follow through and reintroduce Billy and Tommy like they did in the comics, because in the
Mm,
comics, they got reincarnated into new bodies, and they got reborn as mutants. So they ended up getting the powers that we saw them using in WandaVision, where Billy has the
mhm.
psychic powers kinda like Wanda does, and we saw Tommy's a speedster. So in the comics, they ended up
Yeah.
becoming reborn as mutants. So
Yeah. Speed and Wiccan.
w right. So we have yet to so we'll have to see if they're gonna give them a similar return. But yeah,
Um,
just to, like, kinda tie back to WandaVision a little bit more, episode 7 was just wow. I mean,
it was Agatha all along.
And the fact that Kathryn Hahn sung her own song, which amazing. It's just like,
how great was that? I mean, how many people get to say that, like, I got to sing my own theme song?
right?
Not many,
No.
not many.
And then
But,
she,
she really was floored by the love,
yeah, she's like this horrible person, but yet, damn it, she made you root for her because
right?
you're kind of like, man, I know you're supposed to be this awful person, Agatha, but man, I really want you to do it. I really want you to win. That's some damn good acting when she makes you want to do, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I love her.
Hmm.
Um, I think she's always, phenomenal in her role. She always plays like the secondary role, but you always remember her.
Hmm.
So, but of course, she got a bigger part, obviously, as we learned,
Yes.
than just that nosy neighbor. She's
Now,
the witch, and she killed Sparky, so
yeah.
she's a bitch.
Yes. I
You
didn't
kill a
really
dog, you're a bitch.
that was what made me dislike her is when she killed Sparky. But at the same time when she brought Sparky out from in the what was that episode
5.
When, yeah,
or
Yeah, it was 5.
whatever. Yeah. I kind of knew she did it at that point. And I
I have to
mean,
say,
it was
I
fan
also, like
fiction that who she ended up being. So
I just thought it was really funny how the song, when you actually listen to it, I immediately thought the Munsters, and then it turned out, yeah, it was inspired by the Munsters theme song, which is awesome, and it's so on theme as well when you really think about it. Not just because the Munsters was a sitcom, but it's a sitcom about these monsters living in suburbia and they're trying to fit in. Meanwhile, you have this character that seems to naturally fit in a suburb, and yet she's actually a monster hiding in plain sight, and you just don't realize it.
yeah,
And it's pretty damn catchy.
it is. It's just catchy too.
I
But then,
mean, I was also really impressed when, like, I looked up the credits and I realized, like, it's the same couple who wrote Let It Go and Into the Unknown and all those songs. So
yeah.
catchy. It was also kind
Oh,
of funny how, like, people were already predicting for a long time that this mysterious character that Catherine was playing could be Agatha, but of course, people are like, "What are you talking about? This is just you guys are just throwing crazy ideas out there." Well, sometimes crazy ideas do turn out to be right.
Well, and it's so funny because I just remember after I watched that episode, we were talking on our Discord, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I know. I wonder," and you like started sprouting out all this stuff, and I was like, "Holy crap! Like you're hitting it dead on with everything you're saying," and I couldn't say anything because you hadn't seen the episode yet.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't read like all of those articles that get written up about announcements and things, but sometimes I do read them, and what they end up writing about are like some extremely popular fan theories, especially fan theories by comic book readers, because obviously people who are reading some of these different titles would be the fans that are going to have a leg up on what they think Marvel is going to be adapting for, the next Doctor Strange movie or for Captain America 2 or whatever, because they're going to be familiar with all the major storylines involving these characters. So I remember I kept reading about everybody saying like, well, Agatha is a big character for Wanda because in the comics, Agatha is a witch who ends up at various points in Wanda's, development with her powers. Agatha is one of her many teachers. So that's why, like, I kept reading, like, well, what if Catherine Hahn is playing a version of this character? And I was like, huh, that does sound intriguing. It would kind of make sense. So that's kind of like why I mentioned that in that chat. And you were like saying how, like, you were kind of like, ugh.
I was like, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
It's like I can't say anything.
Yeah, but I think it's hilarious how another fan theory that people like kind of had a mini meltdown over was about Mephisto showing up, and he never did.
Nope.
But they kept hinting at him.
Yeah, I mean, I seriously thought he was going to show up in the last episode, but in a way, I'm glad he didn't. But at the same time, I was kind of like, man, I really wanted him to show up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it just means that it's very possible that the hints towards him could either be just Easter eggs, or it could be hinting that he is going to eventually show up, but it's just that it's not now. Which, to be fair, from a narrative perspective, might have been like, again, like one of those things that would have been way too many concepts to throw in to one show. Kind of like
Right.
how people were theorizing, like maybe this Pietro could be the lead into X-Men showing up, but yeah, it turns out to be like an extravagant stunt casting thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed about that because I would like X-Men to like join the MCU.
Well, didn't they finally get the rights to it?
I think
yeah,
so.
yeah.
I thought Marvel Studios finally got the rights to it because I know Disney has the rights to it because they have almost all the X-Men on Disney Plus except for the ones that are rated R.
Mm-hmm. Because Disney don't want those.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's a couple of different possibilities they could do with the mutant characters. It's either they could do some nutty thing where the mutants got pulled in from an alternate universe, which is a popular fan theory,
Mm-hmm.
or they could come up with an alternative explanation as to why mutants are suddenly showing up in this particular universe. I
Yeah.
mean, there's pretty good cases to be made about either option. I
I
mean,
think
yeah.
I think if they're going to do it, they're probably going to end up doing it like they're from since they're bringing in the multiverse with Doctor Strange and they've already done the time travel shit. So I think they'll
Yes,
end up
please don't do
probably
that
doing
again.
it like, yeah, we're not going to do time travel again, but I think they'll bring in they're from a different, it's an alternate reality too, and that, because technically Wanda and Quicksilver were mutants in the comics.
Right.
Right.
But going into how, I guess, Wanda's backstory on episode 8 made me cry.
Oh God, yes.
Poor Wanda.
Yeah, I what got me was the final, when she gets to the just the outline of the home. That's where I broke.
I broke when she said to Vision, "I can't feel you anymore." And then she leaves. Which then I was wondering, like, why the hell was Hayward, like, why did he lie?
Well,
Like,
we
for
found
what?
out.
Yeah, like, why? I guess it was because he was building the new Vision, but why did he want to get rid of Wanda?
Because she's a threat.
Well,
She's
I don't
very
know that
sad.
he necessarily wanted to get rid of Wanda at first, until she had brought his Vision back online.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was going to, then he wanted to get rid of her. And once he was able to bring his Vision online, that's when he really went with we're going to destroy her. Because I think he knew anything else wasn't going to work.
Well, yeah, he tried some other things and it didn't work, so.
But I think he knew they weren't going to work. I really think he knew that they weren't. He was just trying to piss her off to the point that she snapped, basically. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah. No, but I did. I felt bad, like, you really didn't. I mean, it's like, obviously, like, we knew how much heartbreak she had in her life, but to see it, it was very sad.
Yeah. I think that, like I said, it made me sad when she said she couldn't feel him anymore. But what really broke, because that's when she broke down, and that's when I broke.
Mhm.
When I saw her break down and then just heart-racking sobs, I was just like, I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there watching it with tears streaming down my face. Not gonna lie, I was like, I'm done. And then it made me want to go hug my family.
I
Oh,
think,
sad.
yeah. I think one of the fascinating things about that episode was, as messed up as it was, Agatha was almost like her therapist, trying to force her to really confront her traumas, because I think that the fact that she created this alternative reality to act as a coping mechanism, forcing her to finally confront these things in her past, is part of the way to finally address all of the problems that she's had and all of this emotional turmoil she's had, and kind of face her true. That's the other thing that came up in the previous episode, when there was that confrontation with Monica, was that Wanda is not embracing her truth. She's almost in denial in a way that, she's had all these losses, and she's not doing, like, the proverbial final stage of grief, which is to finally accept it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're creating this alternative universe, and you're in essence lying to yourself that everything is fine and everything can be happy, but it's not. None of this is real. You're just running away from your pain, and you're not confronting it and realizing what you're not realizing what is the truth here. You're just lying to yourself, and that's not that's not the way to live, and it's not the way to move forward, so
Right.
in a bizarre, in its own, like, twisted, bizarre way, Agatha was, in essence, the therapist kinda guiding Wanda along, and that is what leads up to the final episode, which is the proverbial final stage of grief, which is accepting that Vision is gone, or at least the Vision that she knows is gone, and she has to let him go and accept it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mhm.
otherwise, what kinda life are you really living?
Right. But the way he said we've said goodbye, or the way she said we've said goodbye before, so we'll say hello again. It kind of makes me think that because he knows that other visions out, he knows the white visions out there, and he
And
basically
that he remembers.
unlocked he unlocked the memories, he unlocked the the past of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somehow that vision's going to find Wanda
I
somehow,
hope
some
so.
way, somewhere,
Right.
and come into it. Come back into her life again.
It's just that he's not gonna have the emotional attachments. He's gonna only have, like, the factual knowledge of these things happen, and that we had these moments together, but they don't necessarily mean anything to him.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know which is worse. And it's like minus like, her losing vision, I feel bad about the kids.
Yeah. I think that's what hurt more than because we already knew Vision was dead.
Right.
We knew that, and we've all come to accept that Vision had passed. At least the fans did. She hadn't. So that didn't really surprise. So I wasn't so sad about Vision leaving, about her losing Vision again. But it's like the children she had created out of
Yeah.
inspiration, I guess.
And like what killed me also was that she didn't realize what she was doing to the people of Westview.
Yeah.
She didn't realize that they were all actually miserable.
Right.
She thought that they were happy with the alternate reality that she gave them. So it was quite eye-opening for her to
Hmm.
realize that she was the monster that, haunted them, which is sad.
Yeah. When they told her that when she let them sleep that they had her nightmares, that was just kind of like chilling,
Mm,
because you can imagine the nightmares that she really have.
yeah.
Right, which ties into, like I was saying before, was that she was not embracing her truth. She was not really embracing what is the reality of the situation, and she's so focused on her grief that she doesn't realize that she's let her powers get out of control, and she's projecting all of her emotions onto other people who very much never asked for it, and she's kinda dragged them into her problems, and she's the one who's turning into the enemy, and not this other witch who never really did anything. I mean, she didn't help the people of Westview, but she didn't particularly do anything to hurt any of them either. So, who ends up looking like the villain here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's like, again, it's part of the whole final stage of grief, which is the acceptance, and she's fine, and she realizes that, "You know what? I have to snap out of this, because it's not fair to all these other people either."
Right.
Yeah. Right, and she gives up happy life for them. But,
Mhm.
and it's sad because like, even when she came back to the center of town to talk to Monica, she said she knew that forever she's gonna be the monster to them. So and I don't I hope that they don't make her evil, um, going
Right.
forward, but you never know.
I have to say, I really do appreciate this. One other thing about the show is they really start exploring more about magic in the Marvel in the MCU. I mean, we had some touches on magic with Doctor Strange, but that's just like one branch of magic, I guess. And to a certain extent, you kind of saw it with Loki as well, but they didn't really touch upon it very much other than him using it as like ways to trick people.
I know, which was annoying to me because I'm like, I'm really hoping they address that in the TV show.
Right.
I mean, the dude is technically a giant, a frost giant, and he's
Yeah.
got frost giant powers. Let's use them.
Yeah, yeah. That was annoying, I have to admit, as I think about it.
Because I'm like, it was in the first movie, and then we heard nothing else about it. I was like,
Yeah,
I
they just, like,
know
were
it was
like,
a
"Okay."
different. It's like I know it was a different director and different writers and everything, but I'm like, good God, you can't just tell me he's a frost giant, give him frost giant powers, turn him blue part of the time, and then say, oh no, never mind.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do hope they explore that a bit more with the TV series. But like I was saying before, I do appreciate how with WandaVision they did. I mean, it's not like it's obviously not like a full exploration of witchcraft and magic usage there, but they did at least kind of gave you some understanding of it, because even with Doctor Strange, it's not like a full understanding of like how that branch of magic works, but you at least got some idea of it because they did, do the magic version of the sports movie training montage where you kind of saw how Strange is like starting to learn more about the magic that they do, and you see him studying and everything.
Yeah,
So you do get hints of it with WandaVision where you realize that witchcraft is also similar in that you can study it to a degree, but it's also a mixture of like what you would call like, I guess, traditional witchcraft, where you have the whole idea of like having covens, and you have like sisters that both support you but also teaches you, because inevitably when you have a group of women or a group of other people or just a group in general, there's going to be at least one or two people in the group that know more about something than everybody else does, and they can end up teaching everybody else like, hey, have you ever tried doing it like this way or whatever. So I think that's pretty cool that they actually started giving us some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I mean, I definitely think that and it just based off of um the end credit scene, with Wanda, they're gonna dive more into it. So that's exciting too. So, like, it looks like we're gonna continue to kinda learn more about that, so
Yeah. I mean, I do hope like it does come up more in, again, the Doctor Strange movie, just because like there's so much potential here that you could do with it. It's
mhm.
like it's like one of the aspects of that's from the comics that never got really delved into with the MCU, because they've obviously been dealing with like aliens and technology and stuff like that, but the magical stuff is like the forgotten stepchild, or I guess from the comics. But
it's like the redheaded stepchild. Ain't nobody like it.
yeah,
They don't talk about.
Poor
yeah.
redheads.
I know.
Yeah, I also like how again, another thing about the magic they were introducing in terms of at least the witchcraft thing is I thought it was interesting how they made it they kind of implied that there is a connection between your emotions and magic, which is a concept that shows up in other fantasy stories that involve magic as well. Like they'll mention how like your ability to control your own powers and to use them are affected by your emotions. Like if you are emotionally disturbed or your feelings are out of control, your magic is out of control. Like you can't make the spells you want happen the way you intended them to, or you just completely lose all control and you end up creating an alternate universe if you're powerful enough. So
Yeah.
that's always that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. No, I thought, for the first uh Disney Plus series for Marvel, I thought that they did a great job in terms of leading us into other movies, in terms of bringing other, certain things to the forefront as opposed to kind of keeping them in the background. I really thought they did a great job with the series overall. I I really enjoyed it.
I did too. Especially
Yeah.
especially considering I wasn't sure if I was even going to watch it. And then by the end of the second episode I was hooked. I was like, got to know.
What's going on? Well, yeah, it's funny because like my boss, he was like, "Oh, I watched like the first two episodes and I didn't really like it." I was like, "No, no, no." I said, "You have to keep going." I
Yeah.
said, the second episode is when they start showing you things. I said, but like the third episode is when like stuff really starts happening and then it just gets better and better and better and better and better. I was like, you have to keep watching. I said it's so good.
Yeah. I was like like I said by the end of the I watched the first episode. I was like, "Eh." And thank God
Yeah.
the second episode came out the same day. I was like, otherwise I probably never would have watched it again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the first, like I said, the first episode, you're kind of like, all right, I don't get it. Like
Yeah.
Vision's dead, but he's somehow here. We're in this 1950s, you know, TV show. Like,
Sitcom, and we're like,
yeah,
the
like
hell is
what's going on? Like this makes zero sense. But then suddenly it all makes sense. Now we know why they were all sitcoms because Wanda likes sitcoms. They were there for her during the worst moments of her life.
yes. And
So,
they were her escape from reality.
yep. Which
Is what they were.
really that's all WandaVision was just a big old escape for
Yep.
her.
Hmm.
So, I'd give it a good grade.
Yep.
Uh for, for a
Yeah.
Marvel series.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend it to anyone who is a Marvel fan. Like if they hadn't already been watching this show, then they definitely should.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Definitely. And just
Man,
think we're 2 weeks away from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I am so excited. I really
I'm
hope it's as good as like I'm making it to be in my
in
head.
in your head. I know.
Yeah.
Same. I'm like, I really want this to do well. And I really want it to do well for Anthony Mackie's character, especially. To have a black male lead is amazing, especially for something like that. And then for him to become Captain America, which has already been which he's already said is what happens, that he does officially take over the mantle as Captain America. So I think it'll
Did
be very
he?
interesting yeah, I think he said it in an interview a while ago.
Because I know, like, more recently, he was like, technically, he didn't accept the shield. He took it, but he didn't accept it. So, we're gonna find out.
Yeah. Now I could have swore I read somewhere that he actually did admit that he does become Captain America.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess
Yeah,
we'll
I mean he definitely was Captain America in the comics, but again, because of the nature of comics, it's like sometimes like you've had multiple people who was Captain America for a variety of reasons until obviously Steve ends up taking it back again. But again, comic book world is different.
Right, because Bucky is Captain America at one point too in the comics. So
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna see that.
Yeah.
No, but they keep making it seem like that's what's gonna happen in the series by giving, because they have Bucky holding catching the shield. I'm like, really? Come on now.
Yeah, but then if you look at like he's wearing the blue shirt,
Yeah, I know it's not.
and then they
But
have the shot where they're walking away from each other, which I'm guessing is like the ending shot of the
yeah,
series.
could be. I don't know.
And Sam has that shield.
Right.
So
So I just want Sam to have the shield. I want Sam to be Captain America. I
yeah,
mean,
I'm just looking forward to both of the characters having more of a story.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
funny because like even Captain America Winter Soldier, like Seb was in it for like 15 minutes.
I know. And it was
Like
supposed
it
to
was a
be a movie
movie about him.
about him. And he's like in it for like a fourth of the time. And he has like
Yeah.
10 words. He says like 10 words. I'm like, but the man
But
can
I
just
knew him.
without having to say a damn thing. That's talent.
Yeah, I just hope like he gets a chance to really show what he can do in the show, just because it's like I'm trying to think, like after the first Cap movie, I'm just trying to think of how much dialogue he actually gets in the other movies. Like he barely says anything in Winter Soldier. I mean, I guess he had a few lines in Civil War, but not like a lot. Same thing with Infinity War, really.
Well, like in Infinity War and Endgame, him and Sam were like barely even in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him less than Sam. That's why like I really want the two of them to be able to
Mm-hmm.
tell their story.
Yeah, because
Right.
well, we know nothing about Sam really, if you think
No.
about it.
No,
I
we
mean,
know that he was in the military, and we know his partner got killed.
yeah,
But we don't really know the story or anything like that. So I hope they dive into that a little bit.
I think they are. I think they will. I think we're gonna get the backstory of Sam, and then we're gonna get not so much the backstory of Bucky, but we're getting Bucky in this century, having to try to navigate the modern world.
Right.
So,
While also working with Sam and
yeah,
defeating Zemo again.
Well, I mean, that's where the wackiness ensues in the show.
well, yeah. I mean, I swear they just literally all they did was they took Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, put them in a costume, and said, "Be yourselves."
Except
I just
hate each other more.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just love that they have Bucky ripping off his sleeve
Yeah.
and everyone's putting again memes up of like that interview where they were talking about Bucky like buying himself like a jacket or whatever and then just like ripping the sleeve off and being like, "All right, I look good."
I swear I swear that's probably why they did that.
Yeah,
Because
they
you just
like
see him look down at his arm and look down at that jacket and be like, "This ain't right." And he just takes that sleeve and just rips it off, and he's like, "Okay,
much better.
much better." And it's just like it's like they made the meme reality, and I love it.
Like I feel like they watched their interviews and was like, "All right, we're gonna put something like this in. We're gonna put something like that in, and
This,
go."
we're gonna do that, and that little girl kicked your ass.
Oh god. Yeah, no. I'm excited for it. I am. Honestly, like I said, I'm excited for this phase. Like I just think it's going to be good. I can't wait for Black Widow to finally come out a year later than it should have.
Yeah. Well, that's even if it
Yeah.
still even comes out in May.
Yeah, they don't want to do the Disney Plus thing. They want to do theaters, which I get. I understand that.
Yeah, I do. But at the same time, they may it might be one of those that they're going to have to end up doing streaming with it.
Yeah. But no, I thought the phase starting with WandaVision was a good one.
Yeah. Considering it wasn't even supposed to start with WandaVision, it was supposed to start with the Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yes. And then because of COVID, everything got delayed.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch us next time.
And see what we're going to talk about.
Because the three fates decide.